thought this is a peculiar time just before the lunch, as people make connotations related to that. I'm not briefing about it, but still, it may be, I would like to throw upon the curiosity of looking at this, which may annul your hunger for a while, maybe at least minimum for 20 minutes. With these few words, I'm straight getting into the topic. I'm going to talk over the influence of the autonomic systems in business and manufacturing in this century. Particularly when I'm visualizing or when I look back to the 20th century and I see the progress of 21st century, I see a tremendous transformation, not only in the technology of the materials technology or the systems technology. I find the way in which the evolution takes place in the machines and the process what we have created. That enabled me to think which way the 21st century transformation must go into the machines and the process around it, which brought out this lecture. I would like to bring your attention to one of the topics what we discuss most of the time on the hardware of computing, that is the autonomic computing, which I have made it to get it to link to the business process and the manufacturing process, which you will be seeing shortly over the slides. The evolution, the key of the evolution, you know that this is the 100th year of the publishing of Darwin's theory of evolution. But look at the beautiful idea and what nature had practiced for millions of years over the earth. Probably, I will not stop with that alone. The universe, which it has after the Big Bang or because of the Big Bang or not because of the Big Bang, and the evolution which was continuously taking place. The contraction and expansion of the space-time continuum. There onwards, there is a propagation of the energy and a propagation of the matter, which was actually making conglomerates across the universe, and the birth of the planets, and of course the origin of the earth, and the evolution what it took place. But our basic interest is going towards the theory of evolution, what Darwin said. We will have a glance on it. So natural evolution developed many systems on earth. We know that, including us. We are sitting here just because we were born on earth. Prior to us, millions of years, many creatures were born on earth. Even today, many species are there. You know, the evolution takes place. What for this evolution is? It's a serious thought for each and every person who would like to seriously contemplate on the path of humanity, or for the path of humanity which is ahead of us. So, the whole thing started long back. Probably the molecules would have got formed. We have heard yesterday how the hydroxyl was formed, actually negating the protons over the oxygen. Alright, leave alone all those things. The earth also has undergone that. And there was a triphosphate which was actually accepting the rays from the sun, and it started vibrating, and the life started its beginning. Even the atoms are living, in my opinion, so there is no specific point of life. Maybe life forms as a common man see over the earth. It started molecules to unicellular, and then unicellular mechanism to multicellular mechanisms we have today. I mean, the bacteria onwards to, you have the cats and the buffaloes and the men and everything over the earth. So these species were under the evolution, and let's look straight away to the point where we want to catch the topic. Every successful mechanism which survived exhibited two things. That is the point. Are we creating systems which are going to be successful for the mission which we are going to deploy them? So, the ability to learn, the ability to adapt, learning, the cognition and the learning, and then making a planning and then adapt. The actions will be adapted to the environment. These main two things. There are many other points which we can discuss, but we invite you to look at it. Its ability to learn and its ability to adapt, make the survival of the fittest. All the systems were actually continuously evolving, and they were integrating the logic from the environment into the system and started actually progressing in their path towards the next stage. So a system to survive and effectively work for the mission, what it is meant for, it calls for the learning and the adaptation skills. The species which can be considered to be the machines of the world. And just by the same logic, the improvement if we want to bring out in 21st century to the environment in which we are living, the process which we create, the machines what we create, it needs to be more intelligent and need to be adaptive, it needs to be self-configurable, it should be upgradable by itself, and it should be disposable also. Probably, I will get into that in more details soon. Probably some of the few speakers before me happened to mention biology. I am seeing that. Biology is still the master demonstrator. There is no question of it. Master demonstrator of the improvements. How things can be improved. Biology definitely shows that. We are not going to get into that. What has it to do with the business and manufacturing? Do we want support? Do we want 10,000 people to work, 100,000 people to work? Or do we want systems what we create? They work for us. The massive jobs will be done by them. The 20th century witnessed repetitive jobs done by the machines and the process. I want to see that in 21st century. Not only the repetitive jobs, the intelligent jobs, reconfigurable jobs, adaptive jobs. And most of the intelligence what we want towards the target mission, handled by the systems, by their integration of the intelligence from one head to other head. I'm just trying to emulate how the human beings are interacting. So, the autonomic nature of the biological systems can pave the way for self-organizing, self-learning, self-healing business systems and manufacturing systems which can accumulate knowledge and improve upon their prior performance for desired target. Actually, the prior performance and the improvement for the target is the daily work of every business process in any corporate body. We want to see what is the profit in the previous quarter, what are the business processes which are set on by now, what are the lacunae in that, and what are the processes which will plug those loopholes and create a reorientation. We call it as with nice words of business process re-engineering. It's an intellectual exercise which transforms the old process to a new one. So, this cycle the human being is doing. And most of the time, hard-coded software is supporting that. Things have to change. This is the call. This hard-coded software needs to change. It needs to be adaptive. If a target is given, this 1 year, this is the performance we want. It should be able to configure, it should be able to reconfigure. Dislodge the things which are not required, probably recreate some of the options what we have given in the past, and then put it into the system and then reorient itself. Machines and the process. You may have heard the definition of a process, a definition of the product sometimes back. We create products and process. It produces the net result of having the machines, having the transportation systems, having the society getting operated on various phases of it. These products and processes, today at what level they are, they carry the embargo of 20th century. The main repetitive jobs to be done. And probably it calls for assistance all the time from you. Coding assistance will be there in the intelligent systems which may come in future too. But way in which call it is very innocent way of calling. It's not an intelligent call from the system what we get. It's mute and blunt and most of the time named. So, we know the natural system can evolve. What about the products? This is what I was talking to you. The machines that we create. And what about the process? The business process of the manufacturing process, what we position into the arena of the society. 20th century, as I told you, we have evolved in science and technology. In 21st century, will we evolve in the products and process, in the intelligence, the natural evolution of intelligence, what we have witnessed around us. Will we be able to map it theoretically, and will we be able to transfer to the products and transfer to the process which we create. So, the evolutionary part, what we have inherited from the nature, are we able to transfer to this production process which will take the humanity a long way in its existence over the earth until probably maybe an asteroid come and hit you. The adaptive viability source, when we start talking about it, how much will be adaptive? Can we create something which is absolutely adaptive? It will start fighting with you. Or it may conflict with the targets what I have given, provided the parameters maybe a multi-hundred parameters which it is governing in the business process. If it is coming in incoherent mode, will it be agitated? Will it be challenging you? So where is the adaptable or the adaptive viability source of it? Just to show that, I may call for this as a graph. I'm sorry that it's not so visible by the contrast. There is a y-axis and there is an x-axis there. And you can see this central point where the equilibrium is maximum, and this is the environment which we can say EV2. I would say that the external things, and the system by itself is, the external on the x-axis, the system by itself is actually existing and managing internally, so the internal environment. So internal environment to the external environment, absolute equilibrium I will be able to gain here by design. Then I shift the equilibrium point or the viability zone I create by the phase space diagram, and I can find that there is a region in which if anything shifts parametrically inside the system, whether it is the business process or the manufacturing process, the rest of the parameters adjust in phase and amplitude, or the system stability factors. It will be adjusting by itself to help each other to adjust to the target by which I have moved the equilibrium to this, or this side, or this side, or this side. This is not any alternative diagram. It shows an example how a dynamically adaptive autonomous system, which will be working perfectly without collapse in the adaptive viability zones. Look at the case of human being. You can see many of the parameters which are auto-adaptive through the subsystems what are available in the body. If you are running very fast, your heart rate increases, your oxygen intake increases. If you stop, it comes down. Probably if you take more sugar, it goes up, and then the activity changes. You feel the thrust of working more and more. So many things which we are not going into the medical part of it, but to show that it's a fully auto-balanced biological system. Adaptive viability zone, and then Ashby was discussing much about it. It's not a big diagram or there is no big invention I can find in it. But he was talking about the environment, the essential variables of the environment, which is actually getting into these step mechanisms. And then reacting part of it, the sensor will be giving the signals to the reaction part, and maybe the motor channels. It's a primitive diagram, but it's pretty old. I want to think people were thinking in these lines, but we didn't have enough infrastructure and the tools by which we can create. But today, in the computing side, in the software side, the theory of intelligence, and the gadgets in the other areas, we have actually. So it is high time we start creating such machines and systems and processes which will govern the world. Online, offline adaptive systems. So this is only the preliminary concept with which we can start making things. So today's computing systems, the business process, the production process, all are under the evolution, under the tremendous pressure to change according to the market economy. I have a big conglomerate spread over all the 148 countries. And the recession coming, or the recession may not be there, boom coming. I have the opportunity, I have the losses. Everything is face to face. I'll be seeing across the boundaries of the years, across the boundaries of the months. Things will be going on changing. We sit together, we decide, we change the process. We change the products what we are selling in the financial market. Derivatives are having its own nosedive. quantitative analysis is giving wrong results. Economic. Probably the production and the process which is again changing in its own direction. Hard-coded software systems and hardware systems working in predetermined ways cannot adapt, which put pressure on men having limited lifespan. See why the man is suffering it. I create a system for my enterprise and I install it. Such an inflexible thing is never existed ever before and is not going to exist after this also. All the software what I am seeing and creating, I am not at all satisfied with that. When you are mapping your process rigidly into an intelligent system, you are really making the intelligent system to fail. That's why the pressure comes on the man. So we say the business process, whether it is a business process re-engineering or a business process innovation or a business process modeling, all these things which where human intelligence is going, we have to have the machines which are going to supplement it soon, as early as possible. Whether it's of online adaptation to changes, sometimes offline adaptation or online adaptation. When you put the intelligent system into action, it will be feedback. It will gain the feedback from the output or the result what it creates, and it will be able to create the comparison with the target or the strategic planning we have. And the business process will be, there are mechanisms, rules and regulations which we know, we will encode it into knowledge. That knowledge will be transferred to the machine or the process system. And those knowledge will be appropriately selected and will be used by the system by which the output will be reoriented, reconfigured and restructured for the success rate what I demand. So, that is actually could be done in the online mode or it could be done in the offline mode. You know the strategic planning experts sitting in the big corporations. What do? They don't interact every day. They do the work most of the time offline. Large amount of data which I have collected for the last 2 years or 3 years, which I look into, I pick up the pillar of data in that. Those pillars I will definitely transform or I will convolute over that. I derive actually the results of it, which I translate into strategy and then put it into action over a period of 5 years. That strategic planning is done by a human being, which is offline. And then online, all the business managers are looking into the market or looking into the production or maybe looking into the other activities by which they try to trim the gap of the loss or the profit, whatever they want. So the manufacturing or the business process, everywhere we find this sort of trimming at the offline and online. Let the machines and models improve by itself. It is going to become more intelligent. Transfer the evolution to the machines and the products and process and then let them do it for us and we will govern the systems rather than run around it and then do the slavery to them. So the business process, this is only it's only a method to show that how a business process is modeled. Probably this is the smallest business process I can show. These are some of the symbols where the group will be activated, the status of the working group will be involved, and then it will be monitored, and the differences will be sent, and then the activities will be again scheduled. So the business analysts and the business managers create and monitor this using these diagrams. And they work with their intelligence. There is no part of intelligence in this today. Transform these business diagrams, business modeling systems, into intelligent modeling systems or the autonomic modeling systems, which will pave the way for you get better results without much strain. Self-improvement in the process. Everybody does that. Every business does that. If it is not improving, it is not self-learning, that business system will collapse over a period of time. So the focus on the process has been described as business process in the redesign. Probably I talked about it just a few minutes back. Business process innovation, apart from several nicknames, all these things are related to the autonomic nature with which the human being is working with the business process. Can the self-learning, self-reconfiguring and self-determining systems take over this? Where a set of people sit and work, where a set of machines work along with the human being. If the human being is not thinking, the rest of the machines stop or they exercise failure modes. Autonomic business systems, we translate the old diagrams into this. we have the strategy, and we have a hybridizer here, we have the business process here, which means built. And I have the output here, fed it into the business performance estimators, and then I feed back into the hybridizer, where I have a lot of rules and regulations of the good. And here I create those rules and regulations of the particular business into the amount of money and wealth which I want to create, including the human resource management, or the wealth management, or the capital management of it. And I have a sampling over this. And can we create such systems which will govern the business all throughout? And what we have to do is that probably look at these points. This is the only job we need to do, the tapping points of it. How do we do it? We have to do the monitoring. We have to not be the system by itself. Actually, the internal system and the monitoring part of it, the learning process of it, the cognition process which looks into the environment in which it is working, and the external system, which is actually totally the business what we do, or the manufacturing what we have to do, and the knowledge analysis taking place between the learning process and the knowledge, and then the planning process which will take place, and the controlling process also will take place, according to the loop diagram what I have shown. And how do we do? Most of the self-evolved existing systems, they do the same thing. They can do the self-optimization because of the energy what we take, what is required for us. But when we want more energy, we are able to release the energy from the body and then do a lot of work. Self-optimizing, self-configuring, it will be self-healing. Most of the problems which we have identified or we have speculated could be solved by the system itself without our intervention, and 100% successfully. If absolutely coherent combinations of problems come, probably it may have to refer to us. Self-protecting systems. It does not go away from the viability diagram what I have shown you. Components. The autonomic elements, there are various types of elements you can create in that. Responsible for the policy-driven self-management of individual components. They will operate by themselves. The relationship among the autonomic elements also we will formulate. Most of the distributed autonomic elements will be self-intervening, self-healing and self-reconfiguring in the process. And then they will be governed by the policies. They give rise to resilience, robustness and self-management of the system by integration of multiple intelligence of the logic system. For an enterprise system, what IBM has suggested some time back, it has got a manual manager, orchestrating autonomic managers, touchpoint autonomic managers, and some of the activities are down the lane, and then manage the resources. They have applied it over their network system, how it could be configured such a way that it could be fully autonomic servers, storage systems, network systems, database systems, and the applications which run over that. And an element which is actually self-contained, it will be an autonomic manager, capable of analyzing, it's monitoring the environment, it will interact or develop the knowledge, and then based on the knowledge it can do planning, and then based on the knowledge it can execute, and based on the planning it can execute, and a managed element we get. And it communicates to other things also, which is missing there. A wealth of intelligent process and products. This is what I visualize. More computing power, it is on your hand. 80 core systems are there, 128 NVIDIA core is available maybe for video processing, but 256 processors, and I have proposed some functional processors in the recent past. It is coming in publications shortly, which I am holding the patent also. More computing power, more complex adaptive algorithms, more interfaces, better safety architectures, better energy optimizations, more green outlook, lesser burden on human beings, and resources at optimal levels for sustainability. These are some of the mottos which will drive the systems in the 21st century and humanity to a better success point. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. In spite of your busy schedules, you have come and requested me to finish earlier. You have time, Krishna. Thank you very much.
If you have some questions, that will be